The F1 paddock lit up in Austin when Red Bull admitted to having a tool that could potentially alter their car's setup under parc fermé conditions. This revelation came after the FIA confirmed that multiple teams had raised concerns about a mechanism capable of adjusting the front bib height post-qualifying, something that's strictly forbidden by the rules. Although the FIA's initial statement didn't name the team, Red Bull soon stepped forward, clarifying that while they possessed the device, they denied using it to bypass any regulations. With Red Bull owning up, the news caused a stir among drivers, leading to various opinions on whether this tool gave them an unfair edge. But before diving deeper into the drivers' reactions, let me walk you through what exactly happened and why it has everyone talking. Autosport first reported that the FIA was investigating a team accused of fitting a device to adjust the car's bib height, allowing for improved performance in qualifying and race conditions alike. In parc fermé conditions, once a car has completed qualifying, only minimal adjustments are allowed, like tweaking the front wing angle. However, altering the height of the front bib, also called the T-tray, offers a significant advantage. During qualifying, teams aim to run their cars as low as possible to boost performance. Since the car is lighter with minimal fuel, it sits higher on its suspension. But in a race, the heavier fuel load causes the car to sit lower, risking excessive plank wear if the bib is set too close to the ground. Typically, teams raise the car's height slightly before qualifying to avoid disqualification for excessive wear during the race. The device under scrutiny would allow Red Bull to lower the bib height during qualifying to boost performance and raise it during the race to meet regulations. The FIA admitted that the device existed but said they had no evidence that Red Bull used it to bypass parc fermé rules, adding complexity to the controversy. The device in question was cleverly positioned inside the cockpit, allowing mechanics to adjust the bib height without using tools, something that directly conflicts with the rules. According to FIA regulations, any aerodynamic modifications under parc fermé must be verifiable through a physical inspection and cannot involve non-tool adjustments. This means that simply having the device installed already placed Red Bull in a gray area of compliance. Although the FIA couldn't confirm whether Red Bull used it to gain an unfair advantage, the mere potential of such misuse raised eyebrows across the paddock. After a few hours of rampant speculation, Red Bull admitted to having the device but insisted it wasn't used improperly. A Red Bull representative explained that the part was inaccessible once the car was fully assembled and prepared to race. Following their discussions with the FIA, Red Bull agreed to remove the device from their cars going forward, aiming to eliminate any doubts about their compliance with the rules. Given Red Bull's strong position in both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships, the revelation stirred intense reactions throughout the F1 community. Many wondered whether the device had provided a crucial performance boost, how long it might have been in use, and if it had influenced previous race outcomes. Although no definitive answers emerged, rival teams were quick to express their opinions. Some drivers, like Lando Norris, cautiously suggested that if the device had been giving Red Bull an edge, its removal could shift the competitive balance. When asked ahead of the U.S. Grand Prix in Austin, Norris hinted that even a tiny advantage like a fraction of a second could be significant, especially given the razor-thin margins in recent qualifying sessions. However, Norris also emphasized that while the FIA's involvement was a positive step, he didn't believe Red Bull's device alone was the reason behind their recent dominance. They wouldn't have earned so many wins and pole positions from just that. Norris remarked, reflecting a balanced but wary outlook. Oscar Piastri echoed his teammate Norris's sentiments, stressing that F1 is all about finding the limits within the technical regulations. However, he drew a clear line between innovation and rule breaking. Everyone pushes the boundaries, that's part of what makes Formula One so competitive, Piastri noted. But from what I've heard, this isn't just stretching the rules, it's crossing the line entirely. He added that McLaren would be keeping a close eye on Red Bull's performance during the Austin Grand Prix. If their pace noticeably dropped without the device, it would raise more questions about whether it had been providing an unfair boost. Zak Brown, McLaren CEO, was equally watchful. He hinted that if Red Bull's performance took a hit, McLaren would push the FIA to take retroactive action. Brown wasn't shy about reminding everyone that if the device had been used improperly, the penalties could include disqualification from any race where it provided an advantage, a move that could significantly alter the championship standings. While speculation swirled around the potential impact of Red Bull's device, Mercedes' Lewis Hamilton weighed in with a surprisingly supportive take. Despite his turbulent history with Red Bull, particularly with Max Verstappen and Christian Horner during their fierce 2021 title fight, Hamilton acknowledged Red Bull's ability to push the limits of innovation. "Formula One is all about innovation," Hamilton remarked. "Every team tries to squeeze the most out of the rules, and sometimes that means stepping right on the edge or just beyond it." However, Hamilton also implied that Red Bull might have been benefiting from the device for a longer period than the public knew. Who knows how long they've had this, and how much of a difference it made? He speculated. "But even if they stop using it now, I doubt that alone will halt their success." Despite his guarded comments, Hamilton's remarks reflected a grudging respect for Red Bull's ingenuity, even as questions remained about whether the device gave them an unfair advantage over the competition. Red Bull's drivers, unsurprisingly, denied that the device had provided any kind of meaningful performance boost. Both Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez admitted they were aware the part was fitted to their cars, but insisted it never gave them an unfair edge. In fact, Verstappen revealed that when he first read the reports about the mysterious device, he assumed it was being used by a rival team, not his own. Still, Red Bull's quick response in admitting the existence of the device seemed designed to avoid further scrutiny. The team agreed to remove the component immediately, ensuring it would not be a factor in future races. However, unless a competing team, likely McLaren, can produce concrete evidence that the device was previously used to breach parc ferme rules, the FIA's hands are tied. Without proof of misconduct, there's little chance of formal penalties or disqualifications being issued retroactively, leaving Red Bull's championship bid unaffected for now. As it stands, the likelihood of the FIA pursuing the matter further seems slim. Red Bull's willingness to comply by removing the device has diffused much of the immediate tension. However, the controversy isn't over yet. Teams like McLaren are watching closely to see if Red Bull's performance in Austin changes. If they notice even a slight dip, calls for further investigation may grow louder. Zak Brown made it clear that McLaren would not hesitate to demand action if they believed the device had been used to influence race results. Adding to the complexity, Red Bull's upgrade package for Austin includes a brand new floor, which could mask any performance differences caused by the device's removal. This makes it even harder for rivals to identify whether the bib height mechanism truly impacted their earlier races. Even with suspicions running high, pinpointing a measurable change in Red Bull's race pace will be a difficult task, especially since F1 development is always evolving, making comparisons tricky. The spotlight now shifts to Red Bull's performance during qualifying and the race in Austin. Teams like McLaren will be analyzing every lap, looking for any sign of a slowdown that could indicate the missing device had been providing an edge. If Red Bull performs at their usual level, it might weaken the argument that the mechanism offered a significant advantage. However, if there's any noticeable drop in speed or handling, rivals like Zak Brown will waste no time pushing the FIA for a thorough investigation and possible penalties. Even if McLaren gathers evidence, proving the exact impact of the device will be challenging. F1 is filled with tiny performance variables, and whether the mechanism contributed by tenths or thousandths of a second could remain a mystery. The timing of Red Bull's new floor upgrade only complicates matters, making it harder to distinguish the impact of car development from the removal of the device. Meanwhile, other teams are keeping a close watch, hoping for any sign of vulnerability they can exploit. Surprisingly, amidst the swirling accusations and rival teams' concerns, some voices have defended Red Bull. Lewis Hamilton, despite his often tense relationship with the team, expressed that pushing technical boundaries is what defines Formula One. "Innovation is at the heart of our sport," Hamilton commented, recognizing that teams constantly search for ways to extract more performance. However, he also hinted at skepticism, suggesting, who knows how long they've had it and what difference it made. Even with Hamilton's measured stance, the underlying tension remains. McLaren's Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri emphasized that while innovation is encouraged, there's a clear difference between finding gray areas in the rules and outright breaking them. Piastri remarked, "If it's true that Red Bull used it, that's not just bending the rules, that's stepping well beyond them." Both drivers agreed that any noticeable shift in Red Bull's performance would raise serious questions, potentially leading to demands for FIA action. With the U.S. Grand Prix approaching, all eyes will be on Red Bull to see if they can maintain their usual dominance without the controversial device. McLaren is particularly eager to catch any performance drop-off, knowing that even the smallest shift could open the door for a formal protest. If Red Bull performs as expected, the conversation may die down, but if their pace falters, the pressure on the FIA to act will intensify. However, Red Bull seems confident that their success won't be affected, pointing to their history of consistent performance regardless of technical scrutiny. Both Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez brushed off concerns, asserting that their victories have come from the team's overall strategy and car development, not a single component. If the car performs as it should, there's nothing to worry about, Verstappen said confidently. Meanwhile, rival teams remain skeptical, ready to pounce on any opportunity to expose a potential weakness. Despite the controversy, Red Bull's drivers remain focused on the upcoming race, insisting the removal of the device will have no impact on their results. The car will still be fast, Perez stated confidently. Verstappen echoed this sentiment, dismissing the idea that the device played a key role in their victories. People always look for reasons to explain our success, but it's the hard work of the entire team that gets us here, he added. With Red Bull's upgrades debuting at Austin, it will be challenging for rival teams to determine if the removal of the device affects their performance. Any potential decline could easily be attributed to other variables, like the new floor or changing track conditions. But the possibility that the FIA could investigate further still looms, especially if rivals like McLaren or Mercedes spot any suspicious trends. Until then, fans can only watch and speculate, wondering if this device was a minor technical exploit or a game-changing trick that could alter the season's outcome.